one of the things that when we get deeper into the life and reason section, one of the things that I'm going to show you is that human consciousness and self-consciousness are shared. A self-aware person cannot be self-aware without the existence of another person. So for me to reach out like this, in this setting, is a way to get closer to the truth than for me to write a long book, an argument. So I need, in a way, I need interaction. I need you to open up to what I'm offering, and I need response. So I think putting this on video will help, should allow me to communicate better. Now, that being said, there are limits on my ability to communicate. You'll notice that sometimes my speech is slurry. That's because I'm in pain. And I have a hard time focusing when I get in pain. And sometimes my daughter was just saying in between takes here that this has always happened to me, but my brain tends to jump ahead. I think that's just part of the problem is, and this is not bragging, but part of the problem with having a high IQ is that you do make leaps. The whole life you make leaps in logic because you're already at the answer. You know, when I was a little kid, I was sort of like a trained monkey. My grandparents sold watermelons off their farm, and they would put them on a truck and take them to a cattle show or down at the parking lot of a grocery store, and they would sell them by the pound. And when I was 4, maybe even younger than 4 years old, they would ask me a number, 8.7 whatever, at 6 cents a pound, and I could just bark it off. I can now, it takes me a couple of seconds, but back then I just leaped to the answer because that's how my brain works. So some of this is going to be leapy, and I'll try not to leap. But so my speech is slurred, pain. I want to try to stay focused, but I want it to be real. I'm not reading off any kind of text, and because I want it to be genuine. It may tend to get a little bit too emotional because I'm in a lot of pain right now, and it's very hard to control my emotions. Pain brings out emotions. Certain levels of pain, you cry as a response. As I said in another video, when you get around a 7 or an 8 on a pain scale of 1 to 10, you can't control your emotions, and that's about where my pain's hanging now. So I want to be able to provide a kind of intimacy, but I want you to understand that the intimacy I'm talking about is grounded and embedded in a love of reason and in a desire to know the good, a desire to have a good life, a desire to, like Plato says, to know the good. Religious people will say, to have God in your life. And I'm going to stay away from religious terms because I think once we get deep into this, religious people will be happy with what I have to say. But I think agnostics or people that are just don't care about religion will find a lot of ground that doesn't have to be related. It doesn't have to be dogmatically asserted. And that reminds me, I had one other quote that I came to mind when I started thinking about this a couple of minutes ago. Blaise Pascal, who was a Catholic priest philosopher who lived right early in the 17th century, said, and I didn't write down the exact quote, so I have to think of this one. But think about this. This is very important. He said, we do not know enough to be dogmatic, but we know too little to be skeptical. And that's what a life of reason is. You find this process that we're going on is not dogmatic. It's going to be an exchange. I want to be able to share the good as we find it and as everyone can find it in a human life, because it's there and it's grounded in common sense, and there are certain steps that that I'll explain to you. But no, but also understand that this is very true. We, and by that I mean all of you too, if you're honest with yourself, you do not know enough to be dogmatic. You do not know the truth. You're not wise. No one is wise. I'm a philosopher. I'm a lover of wisdom. I'm not a wise man. I've never lived long enough to be a wise man. So I don't know enough to be dogmatic, but I don't know so much that I can be skeptical or cynical about life. So we need to be open to the goodness of reason, and to the good things that life offers us, if we know how to look, and if we know how to share, and if we know and trust other human beings. And that's the difficult part, and that's why there needs to be some intimacy here, because a good life must have friendship and love. It must. And we all know this. It's one of the things we just know in our hearts. But if you understand life and reason, you don't have to know it in your heart. I can show you where it comes from, and that's what I will do. But understand my physical limitations, and understand my desire to communicate as intimately as possible and as rationally as possible with you. And then we can move on into this adventure together. I think we'll stop there.